Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. It is your Smackdown review for Friday, September 29th. September is almost over, people. Crazy how quickly the time goes, but we thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot to talk about with tonight's Smackdown, but we have no Luis tonight. I am out here so vulnerable on my own. Please be nice to me, and please send in your super chats if you would be so kind. We're not going to do humper chats, just super chats tonight because I don't have access to those. And we will also remind you to leave a thumbs up on this video and to subscribe to Fightful YouTube, both things that help us out very much, very, very much, if you would be so kind. But nothing helps us out more, people, than when you subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Oh my goodness, I think there's going to be some big news coming out of Wrestle Dream. So get on FightfulSelect.com. Very excited about the pay-per-views this weekend. We have No Mercy tomorrow. I'll be doing the post-show with Alex Pulowski on the main channel right here to bring you all of the greatest with an NXT card that looks pretty strong. Very, very excited about that. Oh, sorry, call me crazy. I see that you sent in a couple of humper chats. I'll see if there's something I can do to get those out during the ad break. I'm sorry for the late notice on that, but we'll do our best to get all of those addressed and more. Lots going on at FightfulSelect.com. Lots of contract news, some details on Shelton Benjamin and people that are advocating for him inside of AEW. The Jade Cargill news, of course, but also some news on Serena Deeb and some conflicting reports about her status and what's leading to her absence on television, her prolonged absence on television. So head over there to FightfulSelect.com. We appreciate all the support that you want to give us in any way that you want to give it to us. I'm so excited to talk some SmackDown. I'm going to Seattle at 8:30 in the morning. I am ready to rock and roll with this wrestling weekend, and we're kicking it off with this episode of SmackDown. Seemed very talk heavy, but the in-ring that we got was really, really good. And a lot of consistency, which is very refreshing to see. I am someone that prefers in-ring, so it's a little talk heavy on me. I might just be fatigued after like the talk heaviest Dynamite of all time on Wednesday. I might just be craving some matches here in my wrestling. But what did you think kind of overall of tonight's show?
Yeah, I agree with you. First of all, Fightful Select will keep you on the edge of your seat. Salesman, baby.
If you don't know how to cope, Lind, with your emotions about the possibilities of some upcoming maybe debuts, nothing confirmed yet, but
I love that. Keeping you, Adam. Just kidding. I don't even know. Keeping you, Adam. I don't.
Keeping you up and Adam.
There you go. Sorry, I don't even know what the hell I was saying. But anyway, back to SmackDown. SmackDown was really interesting tonight. There was a couple matches that really had my full attention, and there was a couple segments with men in wheelchairs that really had my attention. I really popped, and I was smiling throughout the whole thing. Kept me happy. So other than that, you're right. This week was full of a lot of chatter in wrestling. So yeah, let's see where it goes. Let's get into the SmackDown card.
Well, let us talk to you. All right, we are gonna dive into some SmackDown. Please get in those super chats if you would be so kind. But we kick it off with Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman entering to a chorus of boos. I'm gonna condense some of this. We had a lot of like through lines, so instead of going necessarily chronologically, especially without Luis here, I'm going to try and kind of smush these things together. I'm going to smush them together. We're going to save the main event segment for the end, obviously, but everything else we're going to talk about kind of right here with this Jimmy Uso takeover kind of thing. So we get them entering. Paul Heyman calls Sacramento a hellhole. You got to love just classic textbook heel stuff going on here. He says, and I really, really liked this, that the second greatest of all time, John Cena, took a beating last week. And I just love how in one sentence he managed to put over and bury the guy at the same time, right? Like he's like, this is other than my guy, this is the greatest guy of all time, but he's not my guy. So he's the second greatest. And I really, really liked that. I also liked in a similar vein on Wednesday, MJF calling his fans my pores, I just thought was the funniest tweener thing in the world, where he was like, they're my pores. Like, he's still insulting them because at the end of the day, he's going to be heel, right? But calling them mine is such like a baby face move. This was kind of the same thing where it was like, I'm lifting you up and tearing you down at the same time. And that's really, really effective. Like, I think that's harder to do than most people realize. But if anybody can do it, it's Paul Heyman. So he says that he took a beating last week, and it was one that he hadn't taken in a very long time. And then they pull up footage from last week's assault on not only Cena, but AJ Styles, of course. You get Heyman saying that he heard Cena was having transportation issues and that Styles is in the hospital. And then we hand the mic over to Jimmy Uso, who begins to brag about everything that's been caused by messing with the bloodline. Out comes Carl Anderson hitting the ring, attacking Jimmy. Anderson sent the bloodline to the outside here and stated that because Styles was in the hospital, it's now the OC's business. So we're seeing this pivot include Carl Anderson, which is nice to see him on television. It's been a minute. And then you kind of see this like knowing glance between Jimmy and Solo Sikoa, where they were like, they were going to respond. And then they kind of were like, I'll wait till the match. So we get a couple of segments and commercial breaks in before this, but since I'm trying to smoosh it all together, as I said, we'll jump ahead to the match here where we have Jimmy Uso beating Carl Anderson, as you'd probably expect, but you get an eye rake in here, and Jimmy goes to the top for a huge splash. Looked really, really, really good. Quick victory here. And then after the match, we get Anderson trying to attack him. But Solo Sikoa comes in and makes the save with the Samoan spike. And then the bloodline heads up the ramp to meet Mia Yim, who, even though Shelton Benjamin is no longer an employee, still, I guess, is walking around pissed off here. Mortal enemy of our own Sean Ross Sapp. But she nails Jimmy Uso right on the head. So this is good stuff. I like them continuing to build this out, especially when we have some notorious pay-per-views that have multi-man matches on coming up, right? So this looks like it's headed to Fastlane rather than Survivor Series. I almost said Elimination Chamber. That's where my head is, obviously, in the clouds. And so, but even so, like, you want alliances building going into Survivor Series, right? So whether they choose to run this back or not, I think that's a good thing. This all made sense. I'll talk about the other stuff towards the end of the episode. We'll break this up because this was a lot of the show. But what did you think about kind of this opening part into this beginning part of the through line here?
I would summarize it as used to it. And I'll tell you why I say used to it. It's because for the longest time on SmackDown, we've bookended the show so much with you know, everything that has to do with the bloodline and any different type of group or combination, it's still the bloodline. So to me, it was all right, cool. You know, I understand that they got to get to the end of the show and bring out, you know, the big pop and surprise of what's going to happen. But yeah, it didn't really move me. It didn't, like, you know, it felt same, unfortunately. You know, it was good, right? Like they're getting the story ahead and they're doing a great job at it. I love Mia Yim coming out and blasting him in the face. So awesome. That was pretty cool. And you can tell she did not hold back either. It was like, yo, hit me. So I love that stuff. So I love physicality, but who doesn't, right?
Yeah, that's why we watch wrestling.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to anyone who maybe thought I'd think differently on the chat, but to me, it just felt the same as what we've been kind of seeing down the line.
Sure, and that's kind of the double-edged sword of it, right? Of this is logically how things should go, but it's very obvious how things are going to go.
Yes,
so
right.
It's a little bit trickier. I think what happened at the end is a little bit more enticing because I think the thing that we wanted to get, we got, which we weren't sure we were going to be able to get, but it looks like we are. So this was really just laying the foundation for that. But you're right. It takes up a lot of bandwidth on the show. So when you're like, I know what's happening a little bit too much, I totally get it. Some of the backstage beatdown stuff that we're going to talk about later, I thought was good. It got some fresh people on screen. But we have the wonderful Kim Gray saying, hello to my faves. We'll catch up after the football game. Yeah, Well, get
Let's
your
do it.
football in, baby.
Football? Who watches that game that you kick the ball
You know what?
through the
A
net
lot of people.
and you score
Watch
3-pointers?
football.
Am I wrong?
You know about as much about that as Chelsea Green does about baseball, right?
When you kick a home run through the goalposts, I love it. Let's go.
Basketball was like my favorite thing on WWE television. So a lot happening there. We're going to come back to the rest of the Bloodline drama. We will move forward into this Grayson Waller effect segment. We're going to save all of the U.S. title stuff and clump it together. But we get the Grayson Waller effect with Bobby Lashley. Now, this is going in a direction that's more favorable than I thought it was. It felt like we were already breaking up the Bloodline. The Hurt Business 2.0, the street business. Like, this is, felt like it was breaking up, but I'm glad they seem to be maintaining it. So we get Bobby Lashley saying that he made a mistake when it came to aligning with the Street Profits and that he doesn't think that they have what it takes to be successful. And then you have Grayson Waller stating like he and Austin Theory are so successful, right? Like maybe it's them. And Lashley says, no. I've seen enough out of Austin Theory. I was in triple threats with that guy for the U.S. title for a while, okay? And Waller tries to defend him here. And the Street Profits music hit, and out come a confused Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. They step right up to Lashley, which I like. Like they have some fire behind them and some tenacity. And Bobby says he doesn't want to hear it, though. Like, immediately goes to cut them off, which I love. And he said that the Street Profits need to prove it to him before leaving the ring. And Dawkins and Ford catch up with him. And he just kind of reiterates this idea, right? That they need to prove it with some wins. I like that. My only complaint is I feel like we're seeing like a lot of that in general across WWE program. It's kind of becoming a clutch, like a crutch, not as clutch, more of a crutch, where it's like JD McDonough needs to prove his worth. And with Cody in the whole Brock storyline, it was kind of like him proving that he could hang. Like, I guess that's a pretty underlying thing in a lot of wrestling, but I feel like they could do something a little bit more fresh. That being said, I think this is maybe one of the best examples I've seen of it because Bobby Lashley is such a convincing character, and his whole motivation through this whole thing was to bring the violence out of them, right? To bring the fire. And so when they let him down with that, he doesn't really have time for that. And so I really, really like the way that this is being executed. I think Bobby Lashley's so fantastic. I have one minor thing with him, which I think you know what it is, and we're going to talk about it in a minute here. But I like that this is being done. I feel like it's getting maybe a little bit redundant within the WWE creative scope, but man, like the execution of it tonight, I really liked it. It's kind of nice seeing this more serious side of the Street Profits too, as well, Alex.
Yeah, I'm buying into whatever the Street Profits are turning into. It was a slow start burn for them, and you don't want to like just jump into it, right? Because they've been the happy-go-lucky guys that come out and dance with you for so long that this is a really big change for that team. So you kind of want to tell that story. Was it something that they were thinking about doing? Was it something they were ready to do? Are they conflicted about it? And I think they've done such a great job of that. And Bobby Lashley has now kind of put his foot down. It's like, all right, enough of the BS and gray lining it. What are we doing here? Are we going to fight? Are we going to be this formidable team that's going to take over everyone? And they're showing that now. Like they came in, they look great. They beat the crap out of them. They're looking strong. They don't look weak. It's like whatever they're going to be doing with Bobby now as a manager. I don't know. We don't know his future if he's going to continue getting into the ring or not. I'm intrigued by it, and I really I'm honed in on him as this guiding light for these young teams that come into WWE and what he can do with them. I'm buying, man. I love it.
I love it too. And I also like something that kind of happens a little too rarely in WWE, which I loved about this episode was we get an immediate resolution. And we're going to talk about that with the US title match, but it wasn't like, okay, let me think on that for a week. Like they responded immediately in this episode. And we're going to get into that too shortly here, but I thought this was really, really good. This is a really refreshing thing to see on the program. Like, this is a really good use of Bobby Lashley because he's so likable and also so convincing. This is kind of like a perfect cross-section for what he's doing. I really dig it.
And sexy.
And sexy. So let's talk about that because he's a good-looking dude. And part of the reason is his wardrobe, okay? And now I feel like I'm being trolled, Alex, because I have said week over week, send me a suit. Okay.
I think he's not like responding to you. I think this is a problem.
Thank you. That's all I want is some acknowledgement. Like, I've been asking for a suit for weeks. And then Corey Graves is on commentary talking about how great he looks and how he doesn't usually admit it, but Bobby Lashley is one of the best dressed wrestlers out. I've been saying it for weeks, Corey Graves.
He obviously listens to our show right immediately after it goes off the air.
Probably during. It's probably in his headphones.
You're right. Yeah.
Last week's episode, he's like, I'm listening to it while I'm commentating. And he's responding directly. And I don't appreciate it because I have said for weeks, I just want one stinking suit. And then I get people telling me where he gets his suits. I don't want it from the same store. I want it from Bobby Lashley. Okay.
Yeah.
The value goes up. Bobby Lashley is a top tier talent. Okay. I could go to any old store and get a nice looking suit. I want a Bobby Lashley endorsed suit. And I want it sent to me. And I want it pressed. I want it looking good. And I don't want to hear from Corey Graves until then about this. Okay. You keep your mouth shut, Corey Graves, on commentary until I get my suit about how good Bobby Lashley looks. I know. I've been saying it for a while. He had the specs on today.
Yeah, man.
He was looking very clean cut, very fresh. Come on.
I'm down for it.
He looked great. He looked great. And I want a slice. See, you guys in the chat, you get it. Give Kate a
I'm
white
6'5". If he can get me a suit that's
this is me finishing the story. Is Bobby Lashley sending me a suit? Okay.
Nothing wrong with finishing the story, my friend. At least some of us can.
That's right. That's right. Brother Ray asking about the Rampage review. So we don't do the Rampage review on here except for super episodes. We'll probably be doing that.
Oh my God. We stole that from WWE. Welcome to the
Super Show or whatever. But when there's a lot to be built up on, we'll do the Rampage reviews then. They are covered quickly at the beginning of the Collision post show, which you can catch with Iridian and Riccino and the wonderful Cresta Star. I don't know what their schedule is tomorrow. I'm assuming we're going on at the same time with the NXT No Mercy post show. So you can catch that. But that is where that gets covered. However, when there's a Rampage that kind of eats up a lot of this time or like feels like a big deal, we will continue to cover it in depth there. So I do know there's some good stuff happening in a women's main event that I'm very excited to see. So be sure to check that out. I heard some exciting spoilies about that. Yeah, I'm excited.
It's a spoilies. She brought that out, friends.
I did. Well, that's when you tape in advance. Easy to find those things.
Is that what happened?
So we do get, I really liked this from Grayson Waller. He's like, well, that segment was a buzzkill. Thanks a lot, Bobby Lashley. Let me get my show back on track. He's really good at this. And I have gone back and forth with whether I like Austin Theory being involved in it or not, because I think it does help Austin Theory a little bit. I don't know if it's doing the job of getting me interested in Austin Theory, but I get less annoyed that he's on my screen when Grayson Waller's there. So progress, I guess. Yeah. But we see him versus Cameron Grimes finally back on screen. Good and bad here. Very happy to see that guy back on screen. You knew Theory was going to win. He hits the A-Town down with tenacity. Like, he looked really great. Love that Cameron Grimes is in control in a lot of this match so that he doesn't look like a chump in defeat. But he didn't look like Cameron Grimes to the moon Cameron Grimes that we love and know. He doesn't look like any iteration of kind of any of the characters that we got to know. And he has such a wonderful and expressive personality. And I know this wasn't maybe the best alley to showcase it, but I just don't want that to get lost because it's so special. He's like such a unique presence, and I don't want that to get lost when he is on screen. So I hope they find something more solid for him to do, because he's just a fantastic wrestler. But
Sure.
this is served its purpose, right? You wanted Austin Theory to get a big win here. You want Grayson Waller's relationship to continue. Perfectly fine from where I'm sitting. Any thoughts here?
No, I'm the same way. Nice to see Cameron Grind back on my TV again. Someone who I wasn't very hip to until I started listening to you and the NXT post shows and all that good stuff. You know, got to give it up to the bangs. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. I hope that we get to see some more of these talents that's been MIA. You know, and
Yes.
up on screen. You know, even if it is against somebody like Theory 4 or Grimes 400 times, you know,
I will
against
say,
each other.
like, it absolutely sucks when we have cuts, but there does always seem to be a concerted effort to use talent that didn't get cut, that
Yeah.
hadn't been getting used after those cuts get made. So that's at least a good thing. I like to see that. But yeah. And later, we get this nice little Dragon Lee video package, just showing some highlights of him in NXT. And he was shown in attendance live at Smackdown beforehand, which I really liked. And it looks like he's going to be entering the picture here, because we get a little bit of, dare I say, a scuffle between Austin Theory and Dragon Lee.
What?
A scuffle, I say. It wasn't a full-on fight. It wasn't like Jimmy Uso beating everybody down backstage, but they get into it backstage a little bit, and that's something that I think could be a great program. Is Dragon Lee is great, and I think Austin Theory is really good in the ring. So maybe with that plus Grayson Waller, you have some good stuff cooking. Maybe Dragon Lee finds a tag team partner. There's a lot of options there. So I think there's a lot of ways that they could go, and I'm intrigued to see which way they end up going.
Yeah.
So some good stuff there, but my favorite...
I'm glad they're pushing Dragon Lee in that lucha style. They kind of stay away from that a lot. You know, it's kind of reserved for like a one type of match. You know, even Rey Mysterio doesn't do lucha style anymore. It's a hybrid WWE lucha style. You know, but pure
Dragon Lee
lucha
is like
style
a little bit more pure.
Oh my god, yeah.
But boy, did we get to see some lucha stuff today, though, in this U.S. title match. My favorite thing of the night, which we've got some chats about, Will chiming in, always so supportive, saying, I love the U.S. title match. They found a 2-pack killer. Yeah, that's crazy. After 27 years or something insane.
Yeah.
Just nuts. In the words of Ice Cube, today was a good day. And he also said, to our point a little bit more, I love that they're making Dragon Lee a big deal. I really love how much they make Jade feel like a megastar. Yes, I think they're addressing something that has been a long time problem of NXT talents not translating to the main roster. It got really lost for a while. And there's been a more concerted effort with that, right? LA Knight came up in a way that was not beneficial to him, but got himself super over. Dragon Lee getting these video packages, a really strong debut, feels like they are trying to make sure people translate a little bit better. Solo Sikoa has obviously been on a meteoric rise since he came up. I think they're being more strategic with stuff. Yeah, which is awesome. So it is good to see more care and attention being paid to the handoff, because so many times we see great NXT talent come up to the main roster and they're either A, in like Cameron Grimes' world, where they're not getting an opportunity to showcase what they want to do, or B, like a completely different person than they were in NXT. So nice to see some consistency. Gunther, of course, like probably the best.
He's one of them. Yeah.
My gosh, like what the perfect test case there, right? So
for sure,
good stuff. But moving from good stuff to great stuff, baby, we get Kathy Kelly earlier in this episode backstage with Santos Escobar. Escobar basically says that he is excited, he's got butterflies, he's focused, and that this has been his dream. And it felt very authentic. Like, there's been a lot of points in this relationship with Rey Mysterio where you can feel kind of the genuity coming out of it. And it's just so awesome when you get to see stuff like that. And then later we get Kayla Braxton backstage with Rey, and Rey says the LWO is all about family. He expects the best out of Santos tonight, and it'll be the fight of his life in the ring. And we get a fantastic match, which we knew would happen, right? Anytime these two lock up, you know it's going to be special. And what I loved here was we did not get a hardened Santos Escobar heel turn, but I think we were getting flares of what that might look like. And it came very naturally through the story. This is something that if you're not as familiar with Santos Escobar, like he is so good at in-ring storytelling and looping it back to where the story's going, like impossibly good at it. So you want to talk some old school lucha? We got a gory special on this show. My God, how fun was it to see that? We get some just really well laden offense. Escobar with a huge tilt-a-whirl backbreaker in this into a torture rack, only getting the 2 count there. We get a phantom driver for the 2 count. And then the finish of this is a phantom driver with Mysterio blocking it and nailing a top rope Hurricane Rana, I think, into the 1, 2, 3. So I loved that you were getting this mounting frustration from Santos Escobar because, like, yeah, I'm in there facing my idol. I still want that title, though. Like, he wants the U.S. title this whole time, and it feels like those frustrations might continue to mount. Like, this might get less friendly over the next couple months, and hopefully he is the one to win that title. Santos Escobar as a heel is great. I can't wait to see it. But I do think it's this might be the beginning of that piece of the story. And I just loved how you could see him getting frustrated with his mentor kind of having the perfect chess move to answer all of his things. But man, oh man, can he fucking go in the ring, man? Like, I know. So good. What were your thoughts on this?
I've been saying this since we started doing this show together. Every time I see a glimpse of people like Santos Escobar, I've been very high on him since day one. As I mentioned before, prior to this was through NXT, just watching his, his style and his character, just not being the traditional like Latino, evil guy that comes in and the C chants. Cool. And the the knee slapping, because that's what they always do all the time, or the Eddie Guerrero crap from the top rope. Like that just gets boring after a while. He's just been so consistent with who he is. So in NXT, he was just, like you mentioned before, he was so good as a heel, right? Here now in SmackDown, God, he's giving you this true to life, giving you his all person. You're going through these ups and downs with him. He can't get over the hump with Rey Mysterio. He doesn't know what to do now. You know what's coming. He can't get over the hump. Your childhood hero. You can't find a way to beat him.
Yeah.
So you know what's coming. And I think they're telling a beautiful story with them where it doesn't feel rushed and it doesn't feel like, oh God, you already know he's going to turn his back on him and do something nasty to him. It's just beautifully drawn out, and I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the fall of Rey when he loses that title. If he does lose it to Santos and Santos does become heel, like that's the story I want to see. I'm here for it.
And I should also emphasize too, like to your point, what's so funny to me is he's the one guy where it's not like, at least from where I'm sitting, I feel like there's not like a tribute to the late great Eddie Guerrero. And he's probably the closest to Eddie Guerrero when I see him as a heel. Like, of any present day Hispanic talent on my screen, by not trying to be Eddie and be himself, but lead into a lot of the same attributes, I'm like, this guy's the closest. I'm telling you, when you see this guy work heel, it's so special. It's been so much fun seeing him on this face run. But if this is the beginning of a turn, like, he was just nailing everything from like his side of things and more traditional heel stuff to like, they did a full-on mob angle with Tony D'Angelo and the D'Angelo family versus like the Escobar family down at NXT. And they made it work in this like very cinematic mob boss storyline. And he was viable in everything he was doing there. I'm so glad he's getting these opportunities to shine on the main roster. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that we see that on a really meaningful spot, whether it's like if Survivor Series feels real or Royal Rumble is like the spot for it. Like, I want that to happen on a really big stage. So
And again, I'm
forward to
like you
that.
mentioned, I'm glad that he's not being pushed as that, like just being compared to like as every Latino wrestler that comes in through WWE. You know, they got to do the jiggle on the top rope.
It's everywhere too. Sammy Guevara, like
Oh, and I don't mean WWE. I mean in
everybody.
general, right? Like
Yeah, it's
it's good just
everywhere.
to see a wrestler in general just be
Himself.
Santos
Yeah.
himself and not, you know, do all the bells and whistles of who he has to idolize. No, let him be. I want to
Let him be
idolize
him
Santos
first, yeah.
Escobar. That's
And
who I want to idolize.
I'm sure with Rey, because of this relationship, we're gonna get some really fun stuff when he turns heel of like going for the 619 and then not or whatever. Like I think that's
getting
all
into his
on its
son
way.
and
That's
all that
right.
stuff. Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun with
I
that.
might cry.
Wrestling makes me cry like more than most things in life now. It's ridiculous.
Power
Like,
Rangers made me cry today, but that's that.
I love that though. But like Eddie Kingston winning the ROH title,
Yeah.
welling up. Like
I don't know why I cried with him in the ring.
Oh, it's a lot. I've had a lot of wrestling feelings the past few months. And I'm going to have them again in Seattle because I'm going to see so much great wrestling out there. I might see somebody's debut. I'm going to see FTR and Aussie Open. I'm going to get to see Shibata versus Eddie Kingston. I'm going to get to see CSJ and Brian Danielson, dickheads. I am looking forward to it, and I'm sure you are. And if you're not going and you have to order on pay-per-view, you're probably like, how am I supposed to afford all of these freaking pay-per-views one in a row and a row and a row? I just paid for All Out and All In. I might as well travel to a different country for what I'm paying and get it cheaper there. And if you can't take a plane, I know exactly the vehicle you should use, and that's NordVPN. Sean's here to tell you about it.
Buying pay-per-views on NordVPN.com/Fightful is going to enhance your pay-per-view buying process. Now, one subscription to NordVPN has so many different benefits, but if you're a big pay-per-view buyer like myself, UFC, boxing, pro wrestling, all that good stuff, any combination of the three, if they're doing a fight circus or something like that, this subscription will pay for itself after one or two pay-per-view buys. Change your virtual location, pay for it at the prices that other people are paying for it in the UK, in Australia, etc., etc., and you can get different interfaces. Maybe you don't like Peacock and you want to check out the WWE Network the way that it used to be, the way that it was designed to be, the easy navigation, so on and so forth. Maybe you want to watch AEW without commercials. Maybe there's some other overseas services that you can't subscribe to and you want access to them. NordVPN.com/Fightful gives you that with a great deal and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Even better, 24/7 tech support. So if you have trouble navigating any of it, they can help you out. Fastest VPN on the planet, NordVPN.com/Fightful.
It works, trust me. And you're muted.
What's going on with my technology these days?
And she's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on? I was just so excited about NordVPN that my whole system just went bananas. Okay,
it happens.
That is how much I love NordVPN. We've got some super chats and humper chats that have come in. We get Matthew Plus A. Always amazes me that Cardoza isn't an army vet. We're gonna move along. The same exact troll saying kayfabe has been added to the dictionary. Kayfabe has been added to the Guinness Book of Records under giant morons with zeros. God. Buddy, let me tell you where being a giant moron gets you, okay? It gets you to the media room at an AEW pay-per-view and
I love that for you.
At the Four Seasons Hotel for 2 nights, okay?
Wow.
I am looking mighty fine this weekend. So call me whatever names you want, all right?
According to the internet,
rolling high.
You, my friend, you got paid by Tony Khan to go there. He paid for your hotel. He paid for your flight. He paid for your seats.
I know.
He paid for everything.
I wish. I'm waiting for this reimbursement, man.
That's
these checks that Sean keeps getting. I'm waiting for him to trickle down to me. I should be invoicing back, I guess. But my goodness.
Funny. No, but I'm so happy for you. I can't honestly, I need to hear you. Like, you need to be loud and proud. Ladies and gentlemen, I told her behind the scenes when we were talking before we came on. I said, just say my name once. That's all I want. I want to hear it.
I'm going to introduce myself as you.
Yeah, just
Alex Cardoza, Fightful. They'll be like, that girl looks Hispanic. Her last name is definitely Fightful.
Spanish Heritage Month. Get that girl up here.
That's right. That's right. I'm very excited. It was a really positive experience at Forbidden Door. I'm really excited to go to this. Unintentionally, my 2 press rooms have been in the hybrid New Japan pay-per-views, and that makes me very happy. I'm on a big New Japan high these past few months. Good stuff. Matthew Plus saying you should try an audio-only format. Well, no, my friend, because we get 200,000 views a month here on YouTube. Thank you very much. But you can listen to us in audio form, and if you do, please give us a 5-star review on your desired listening platform. Will saying, they fooled me twice. I thought he was going to beat Rey. Couple good near falls in this, and they made it have that big match feel. So I was like, I don't think they would do this on just a regular episode of SmackDown, especially this close to a pay-per-view. But they got me. They got me a couple times. Orion Ben 666 saying they told Kate 1 match and she went crazy in Seattle. Look, you announced ZSJ, Bryan Danielson. Give me Sheppy Zach versus Dragon Bullocks. I am so excited. I did actually think about the fact that with matches that technical, sometimes you have a better viewing experience on TV, like being there live, because everything is so nuanced. But then I was like, what am I going to do? Not be in the building for that? Let's go. Very, very, very excited. It's the greatest wrestler of all time, with one of my favorites in all of wrestling right now, and the best technical wrestler in my opinion, in Zack Sabre Jr.
In the whole world.
In the world. I've been watching since 2009, and I would say this Zack Sabre Jr. TV title reign is one of the most inspired reigns that I've ever seen. It's some of the best wrestling work as far as establishing a phase of his career as a singles competitor, because he was doing a lot of tag work. It's establishing a new belt in New Japan. It's doing so with a time limit draw, and it's in his style. It's just been really inspired work. So go watch it if you haven't going into this. There's so many great matches in this title reign. I'm very intrigued to see what he adds to commentary tomorrow. I think that's going to be a whole bunch of fun. I'm wondering if this ends up being for that title. Probably not, because I think it would tip the hand of the booking, but I am very excited.
So happy for you. Go to the fish market, throw some fish.
I'm going to come back with so much vinyl. You
need to go and take
it's
a good,
home of grunge.
Go and cope with the land out there.
It's my favorite music is grandfathered there. I'm just gonna be in hog heaven, I think, this weekend. I'm very excited. Thank you. As do I. I need it.
Shrooms and listen to grunge. Let's go. It's all about Seattle this weekend.
I don't dabble in drugs, but I think if you're in Seattle listening,
by the way.
I think if you're in Seattle listening to grunge, you might just do heroin. I don't think it's even.
Holy crap!
I think that's how it works. I don't even know if you
to
volunteer do it.
She said, "Give me the black tar heroin immediately."
It's not even that I'm signing up to do it. I think that's just what happens when you listen to grunge.
Oh, yeah. I can't. That feeling's great. Go to the real Starbucks out there too if you drink coffee. I'm
gonna be living it up. I'm gonna be having the time of my life. I'm very excited.
Nice.
So jumping back in here, I know I'm
sleepless in Seattle. You get it? There you go.
That's me. Submissions in Seattle, Bullocks. Let's go. But we, after this match, get a very frustrated Santos Escobar, which I like, and Zelina Vega, who was at ringside during this, is very concerned about the dynamic of what just happened. And before Mysterio and Escobar can kind of do the paying respect move, you get the Street Profits coming out and they attack Rey and Santos. And that's what I love, was what we got set up earlier in the night immediately paid off, right? Bobby Lashley says, prove it. They go and beat down Rey and Santos here.
Yep.
Adore that. I think that's so great.
Yep.
Bobby Lashley's music hits and he's headed down to the ring. And the rest of the LWO try to kind of stop him and make the save for Mysterio and Escobar. But they get laid out as well because it's Bobby freaking Lashley, all right? You're not stopping that guy. But he's just smiling and celebrating with the Street Profits. So proud of his little fashionable children, which you love to see. Good stuff here. I think that's good. It's a nice little story brewing. I like stables, so this stuff is all for me. I will take it. Any thoughts on kind of our post match and this build, or?
No, I kind of alluded to it before in the beginning when we first started about how hyped I am with the way that they came in and beat the guys up and stuff like that. So, just to kind of like circle back, same thing. The after talk there in the, you can see Santos looked a little frustrated. I love when he talks Spanish. I hate when you talk Spanish and then you dub it in English at the same time. You have to repeat it twice.
Yeah.
That to me it's a little weird. I understand that there's no Spanish speaking people, but that might be watching and not understanding. But whatever. Like, I like that with Santos. They just let it be.
Yeah, I love when people get to speak in their native language because I feel like you understand what they're saying, even if you don't understand what they're saying. Like, when it's delivered well, you can fully hear the message. But Caleb Braxton is back there, and we get a challenge from Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits for Fastlane coming up. So throwing this little pay-per-view together last minute, but it is coming together, and it's coming together with some great matches. So we will see. But we get a couple of other pieces of business here of Michael Cole announcing WWE signing Jade Cargill and the potential and the future of what it could look like for her. And we get this video promo that I know you were excited to talk about. Just the bravery of Elton Prince, who suffered an injury back in July that did not require him to be in a wheelchair at all. There was no need for this. It was a shoulder injury. But he's in a wheelchair. It looks like he has made a full recovery because he celebrates by popping up from that wheelchair. This is just hysterical. These guys are so much fun, and they've really settled in on who they are on the main roster. It's a blast to see them anytime they're on screen. These vignettes have been just hysterical. Any thoughts? I know you wanted to talk about this, so go right ahead.
Loved everything about it. It was so gimmicky and amazing. It reminded me a lot of what MJF and Adam Cole were doing. It was just from when the minute I heard the music, I kind of turned around and looked at the TV and I was like, I smiled. I was like, oh, I know what's coming. And it was so damn good. The weird montage story of him trying to give him a tag. The way he fell off the wheelchair, I popped so hard. I know I was supposed to feel sorry because the man messed up his shoulder but couldn't walk.
Yeah, but they're telling you to laugh at it. I love it. It's so
Butch
good.
saying we should have broken his legs. It's dead at the very end. Oh, God. It was just so good. I love what they're doing with them. I love the fact that they are very serious in the ring, but they don't take themselves super serious outside. They have such a great tag team like vibe, and the gimmick that they're playing is so well put together that it doesn't. For me, who always hates these over the top gimmicks, this does not feel over the top to me. This feels just perfect with them. And I really like it. I don't know what it is about these two, but I'm so like it's as good as the Acclaimed. Like it was not supposed to be that crazy, scissoring people, but it works.
But they're like, I keep going back to Roddy. Like, he's so over with this neck injury, and they're so over with their shoulder injury. I'm like, it's so hard to explain to people, and I think this is where it boils down to just a matter of taste, because I just like there's some really gimmicky stuff that I hate, and there's some really gimmicky stuff that I love. And it's just, sometimes it's not logical. Sometimes it's just a matter of taste. Like it really is. It's like, no, I just find that funny and I don't find this other thing funny. So I'm with you though. These have been absolute gold. I think they've been so much freaking fun.
We know when he finally gets up and tags his hand and they're like dancing and they do the and they freeze frame it. I was like, yes, it filled my soul.
And to your point, Butch and Rich Holland backstage just look at, like, they got called to TV just to go, we should have done more damage back in July. Hysterical to me. Butch, Pete Dunne doing excellent work on NXT. Excellent work on NXT. Really. very nice to see him in this month of September.
Very.
Moving on into Octecker. Very
Ooh.
excited.
Mm.
It's the year of technical wrestling. It's back, baby. All right.
Look
I'm
at you.
excited.
Someone
And
calm this lady down.
nope,
Get some water for
it's
her.
just gonna get worse. It's just gonna get worse on Sunday. But
I'm here for it.
We get Charlotte, Flair, and Bayley in a match that between the ropes is good, but hate the angle. And a promo that's good. Still hate the angle. Before the match, we see Charlotte getting out of her limousine, of course, and giving what I thought is a decent promo, but like she's supposed to be the face in this, and she's just better at being a heel. Like, let her be a heel. But she asks Bayley what happened to her and says, she was one of the 4 horsewomen. And it's kind of a good point because the booking has not been kind to Bayley over the past year and a half or so, while still positioned very highly on the card. And then she says after she beats Bayley tonight, she's going to challenge Io Sky for the championship at Fastlane. Why wouldn't she? She's Charlotte Flair. She doesn't have to talk to Adam Pearce tonight, I guess. Like, sure, why not? Just go around making your own matches and rules. I guess this is technically a challenge. Io didn't accept it, but like, we're going to talk later about what happens with this match. The match is pretty good. There's some good stuff between the ropes. We get Flair hitting a really nice spear to end it. But Bayley in control in a lot of this match. I loved her getting out of the figure 8. I thought she did a great job with that spot. But after we get Bayley grabbing a mic and saying that the goal tonight wasn't to win, it was to destroy Charlotte, which I thought was good, except that didn't really come across in the match. But as Damage Control is looking like they're about to fulfill Bayley's promise and go down there and lay in the beatdown, Asuka's music hits and she heads out to the ring, cutting a promo in Japanese. Another situation where we get someone just cutting a promo in their native tongue always reads better to me. And Bayley attempts to translate, saying that if Sky would defend the title in a triple threat against Charlotte and Asuka at Fastlane. Io Sky not happy.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about the match. I'm very nervous about the outcome. I can't imagine that triple threat being bad with the 3 of those women in it. Like, those are 3 of the best wrestlers in the freaking world, male or female. Very nervous that Charlotte wins, and this is just a ploy to have Asuka and Io be a sideshow, a non-title thing, which would be 2 championships in a row where it got derailed for no reason. Like, Asuka's reign wasn't even a reign. It wasn't booked at all. Was not booked well.
Right.
Io, this has been like her only story in defense. So that doesn't make me feel great. And they just need to do a better job with Japanese wrestlers in general, especially Japanese female champions, and making their reigns come across stronger. Now, this is a triple threat. Charlotte doesn't have to take the pin to lose here. Maybe that's part of why she's added. Maybe she's pinning Asuka or something. Like, there might be something else there, but the outcome piece of this makes me very nervous. I think the match is going to be incredible if that's where this ends up going. Any thoughts on this match and the angle that we got here?
Yeah, I'm curious as to where are they going with this. Charlotte's always kind of in the picture with the title. I think like she's never anywhere outside of that. So in my heart, I don't feel like they're going to be putting it back on Charlotte. I could be 1000% wrong on this, but I feel like the real story here is the one with Asuka and Io. I need to. I hope so. I think that they need to expand on this. I think that they need to keep it on Io and then, get out of this triple threat crap stuff that they're trying to do and kind of move on to a one-on-one. But it has to be something crazy. I would love to see like a cage match between these 2 women.
I'm all for a trilogy of this.
Yes.
I'm all for a trilogy of this. Yeah.
I want them to put them through the gauntlet. Let them do what they do best against each other. And don't let them hold back. Just because I think that this will really elevate Io to a status that we have not seen her in, because she's kind of been in this mix of this trios, since coming back with Bayley and whatnot. So I want to see where she goes. I want to see that fire in her, and solidify her as a singles, credible singles opponent for anyone.
Sure.
Not just be kind of like this, as much as we love Damage Control, I don't know, I might be speaking for myself. It does get sometimes to be a little bit like corny, like a little
Oh,
too
absolutely.
many games, right? Like you got the world championship involved, the world champion, women's champion involved in the trios, and half the time it's like, it's all funny business, like Bayley getting her into matches or stupid things happening around it. Like I want her to feel like when you watch Rhea or you watch Charlotte or you watch Becky, they feel and look like champions. I want that for Io as well.
I agree, and I do think of it. Part of it is probably so that Bayley can be a mouthpiece, but to your point, they're also playing the same games. Like we see the same dissension, we see the same interference over and over again. So there's not like a refreshed approach within all of that. So I'm with you there. I would like to see Io stand out a little bit more. I thought the match we got last week was a really good step in that direction. Hopefully, the in-ring that we get with this triple threat continues to advance that. But I am with you. Guys, get in your super chats, but not your humper chats tonight. I don't have access to them, but we do appreciate any support you want to throw our way. And I will also remind you to head over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe, would you? Because not only can you subscribe for $5 a month, you can subscribe for $51 a year until Monday, which is 2 free months. We have annual billing now. So if you are like, I am in it to win it with Fightful, okay? I am literally so faithful to you guys. I have no doubts that over the next year, I am going to stay in your wrestling news camp. Subscribe annually. We've had some really wonderful people not only doing that, but sending really nice messages with that, saying like, happy to subscribe for a year. $5 a month is a bargain. We've just been getting some really, really nice stuff. So thank you for the kind words and for those subscriptions. But it's a good deal if you want to pay up front. You get a couple of months free in that. But that discounted rate only goes till Monday. So get in there now. I think you're gonna want to see some of the news coming out of Wrestle Dream. That's how
Black
I'm
Friday
feeling
specials
about this.
hitting you now, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
We're heading into October.
It's your October special, all right?
It's your October.
Buy now. Will saying, I'm not a character hater, but why though? It feels like they are holding off for Kyrie to come in so that the storyline can be with Asuka and Io gets going. It's true. Kyrie is waiting in the wings.
Yeah. Wow. Good point.
Call.
Good point on that.
One LT Photos, thank you for your service. Hello, bruvs. CSJ promo with Renee. He's the best. He is the best. I got asked by someone who doesn't watch wrestling, like, oh, what's like his character? And I was like, he's just the best wrestler in the world and calls everybody dickhead. That's pretty much it. And then my co-host at ROH, when Reg isn't here, SP3 was like, oh, I describe him as the best technical wrestler in the world, who's also obsessed with George Michael because he's done a lot of promos about George Michael. He's just the best. We stand ZSJ on the show. I'm very excited to see on Sunday. Also very excited that they're getting him in on Rampage and Collision because I feel like it's another situation where it's like a Danielson dream match, right? So you don't need a ton of build, but it is nice. And he's such a silly promo telling Bryan Danielson to get back into Zorball. Come on. Who doesn't love this guy? Good stuff here. So that brings us to the main event segment. And I'm going to wrap in some of the stuff that happened earlier with the Bloodline. We covered all of that opening stuff, but we do have a couple more segments backstage where the Bloodline is cutting through the hallways and an annoyed Jimmy Uso is just attacking anybody he can get his hands on. That includes Ashante the Adonis and B-Fab, who's looking on just kind of helpless in the situation.
Jeez.
So what the big thing here is Solo Sikoa attacks Adonis and puts him through a table, and we do get Paul Heyman saying he's going to call Roman Reigns. Dun, dun, dun. Who won't be back until November. And out of all the stink they made about John Cena not being here, wouldn't you know it? He's making his way to the ring with his Fastlane contract in hand. He's going to fight himself. He's not going to fight himself. He's going to fight by himself if he has to. John Cena saying he didn't have a partner to face Jimmy and Solo. So he simply is going to have a handicap match and follows that up by saying that he will take them by himself if he couldn't find a partner before Jimmy Uso's music hits. Mm-hmm. And we have the partner that everybody was helping would come out, right? We hear LA Knight. He is back and he makes the saying. He is still so over, man. He is getting enormous pops in segments like this.
Jesus.
Absolutely love to see it. This is perfect. It's just good because we found out last week. Actually, Sean was on air when he found out that he had COVID, so it looks like he's recovered just fine, which we're happy about first and foremost, just like as a person, right?
Correct.
So that is good. And this is the perfect program to set up. I think this is a great way to keep LA Knight moving up the card. You're not going to want him in the title picture for a little bit. I think we'll probably get him and Roman in the new year, maybe at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Great way to close the show. It did eat up a lot of real estate on the show tonight, but you have John Cena there. You got LA Knight there. Main event LA Knight here. I love to see it. What were your thoughts on how we closed out tonight?
You know, I know the thing is that we kind of wanted it to be LA Knight, and it was LA Knight, and we knew it was LA Knight, but yet we still acted like we didn't know it was LA Knight, so it made it even more awesome. Like it came in through the TV so well. The fans love everything LA Knight. I think WWE is starting to see the value of the LA Knight, and I think after this Fastlane match with the John Cena, the greatest of all time, we should probably start booking this man in meaningful matches that lead towards a certain goal. Start putting him, yeah. If
Crazy idea.
if it happens that the bloodline falls, because it could happen, this will be the greatest run for LA Knight because you're looking at an actual one-on-one where he doesn't have to worry about people over his shoulder, and you can have him crawling and you can still have him, and by him I mean Roman Reigns get out of matches in certain ways, the sly devil that he is and whatnot. But I think this will be amazing. Now, here's the thing I got for you, Kate. Where do we go with this? If are we turning our backs on the Kodai and trying to give the Universal title to LA Knight?
No. I wish, but no.
As fans, not WWE the machine. The machine knows where they're going. As fans, are we going to say, okay, he could maybe finish his story next year? With all those rumblings of maybe The Rock coming into WrestleMania. Like, there's so many. Here's the thing with WWE. They're putting so many layers on top of this cake here of this championship, Universal title championship reign, right? Cake, that it's starting to kind of feel now jumbled up and pieces are starting to kind of like, where do they go? Because if you start pushing an LA Knight upward, right? People are going to want him to like chase.
Yeah,
and
but he's not going to
so
win.
hot. He's so hot. Who are you going to put him up against?
When are they ever? I mean, Sean reported that Roman's going to drop whenever the hell Roman feels like. That is like verbatim, basically from a top source at WWE.
Really? So he has total control over his
It sure
title
sounds
reign?
it.
You gotta be kidding me.
That is what was
I've
reported.
never heard this. Maybe back in the day with Hogan in his contracts.
It is like Hogan level, yeah. Sean reported it. Sean don't miss. So, I think it's The Rock or it's Cody. I think it would be almost promotional malpractice for it not to be The Rock after what we've seen. But if it's not him, it's Cody. What I would do is have him drop to Cody at Royal Rumble because of The Rock's interference, because that story has never at any point needed the title. It is so much different than needed the title.
Right.
So give Cody the freaking title and let him finish the story.
Damn.
I would say LA Knight, to me, it felt like if you're going to push him here anyway, you should have just given him the Money in the Bank. Because while Damian Priest is fantastic and I think will be a great champion, you have this whole stable involved and you don't need the Money in the Bank briefcase to advance that. LA Knight with the Money in the Bank briefcase walking around with that thing for like 6 months is hysterical. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. Because Damian Priest could do everything that he's doing right now without that. I do feel like LA Knight will be a world champion one day, but I think he's going to be a mid-card champion first. I think he'll be in that US title picture. I think Santos wins it, but I think maybe your next US title holder is LA Knight, kind of somewhere in that same picture. Especially if you're going to have a heel Santos, you could have a very face LA Knight, take it off of him. They have some NXT history too. LA Knight versus Gunther doesn't feel like it.
Right.
LA Knight versus Santos Escobar feels like it to me.
Okay. All right. So makes sense.
That's the math I would do.
I was just, it's not a bad thing.
He's bigger than the mid-card title.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. It's not a bad thing that you have a cake right now full of all these stars that you want, all this love and championship lore for. But at the same time, not everyone can be on the top. Not everyone can be on top. Unless you got Bluechew. No.
That's right. That's right, damn it. I do also think that they've kind of boxed themselves into this situation where, you can't capitalize on the fact that he's white hot right now.
Yeah.
Because of the Bloodline story and because Roman has the title and because Roman's never around. When it was Danielson who was white hot, they just didn't. They could have, but they just didn't. This time the story begets something so completely different. You don't even have that option. If LA Knight was on Raw, he could go dethrone Seth for this tomorrow and it wouldn't be an issue, but he's here on SmackDown. And I think they want Seth to, if he's not losing it to Shinsuke, I think maybe he's holding it till Mania or at least Mania season. So we'll see.
LA Knight getting that huge Prince Nana pop, baby. Let's go.
He is. He is. We'll give you a quick Rampage rundown. Spoilers. If you don't want to hear Rampage spoilers, tune out right now. But you have your AEW Worlds at Trios title match. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass defeating Isaiah Kennedy and the Hardys. You also have... we got TMDK? Nice. TMDK, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, and Bad Dude Tito. They're my favorite stable in the world right now. Are going to be on the 0 hour against the Acclaimed. Oh, that absolutely rules. For those of you who are not familiar with TMDK, that's Zack Sabre Jr.'s. The rest of that stable is Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, and Bad Dude Tito. Shane Haste and Bad Dude Tito especially have really big personalities. They're going to play really nicely off of the Acclaimed in that. But that absolutely rules. So that's on the 0 hour. That makes me happy. Eddie Kingston gives a promo backstage. What else we got? Eddie Kingston defeating Rocky Romero to retain the title. That is a great match, I'm sure, because Rocky Romero absolutely rules. If you're not familiar with Rocky, he's a great wrestler. He's also a great commentator. He's also a great booker. He does everything very well in this industry. You get the Righteous, Dutch and Vincent, who I adore as an ROH stand, beating Caleb Crush and Gunner. So that's a good win for them, looking strong going into Wrestle Dream. And your main event is Hikaru Shida versus Ruby Soho and what looks like it was the first ever women's time limit draw, which is cool as hell.
I usually watch Rampage on Saturdays because I'm doing the show and I record it, and that's just the way I do it. I like to get my lunch.
Oh wait, no, Shida won with the katana. Never mind.
Okay.
Just sounds
Stuff
like
my mouth and watch some
there you go.
Rampage. I'm part of the L3 demographics, if anyone knows anything about that.
There you go.
Everyone talks about all these numbers and demos.
And Saraya came out to collect Soho and stare down her challenger for October 10th. Okay. We're getting some Saraya action here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your 1-800 Collect Rampage report.
Your Zack Sabre Jr. promo was him saying that a stiff breeze can knock Danielson down, which I love. There's been a lot of this talk. Danielson didn't have a year to retire. He barely had a weekend. Oh, good stuff. Love to see it. I'm excited. He's
we need to make this
like
the
retirement before humming the final countdown. What a dude.
Like the old school WCW. When they used to do the rundowns. Brought to you by Valvoline. I know you didn't watch WCW growing up.
I didn't, but I am familiar.
Yeah.
Orion Ben saying, I wanted it to be Mia Yim. WWE are cowards. Mia Yim and John Cena. There you go. There's the tag team you could watch. Unless you were saying Mia Yim should dethrone Roman. Yes, as long as she beats Sean Ross Sapp to get there. So
Yeah.
that's all I ask. Dang, you retired in Seattle once. I'll retire you again. Well, okay, CSJ. Rude. Arrogant Brits. But that's our show for tonight. There's so much wrestling this weekend. There's Collision. There's No Mercy, which I will be reviewing from Seattle. There's Collision. I already said Collision. There's Wrestle Dream. There's so much going on this weekend. We had Smackdown tonight. It was a whole bunch of fun. We thank Alex Cardoza for joining us, as always, for the review of it. But Alex, where can the good people find you?
As long as you continue to have me here on Fridays, I will continue coming.
That's what she said.
I thought about that after I said it.
Pause.
You guys can find me on the X machine until they start charging $2 for everyone to use it. Underscore Alexis Cardoza. You can find me on Instagram, where I normally post absolutely everything. And yeah, man, you guys, this is it. It's the end of the year.
I know, we're coming to the last few
we are
months
now
of the
in
year.
the last less than 90 days till Christmas, and then this is it. We're out of here. 2024.
Damn right. 24 is my favorite number, so I'm excited. Fingers crossed for a better start to the year than the way things have been rocking right now. It's been
I got you, Dale.
Little couple of months, but good stuff here. Hey, you can find me at Wrestle Dream if you're going to be there. I would love to say hi to you. If you will be in Seattle, feel free to come up, introduce yourself. I got to meet a lot of really wonderful people at Grand Slam. Absolutely so much fun to hear about people that tune into the show. It's just the best. So don't be a stranger. Awesome. Don't be a dickhead either, but don't be a stranger. Come over and say hello. I will be marking out the entire time. So very, very excited. But when I'm not there, you can usually catch me on Sundays on Fightful Overbooked with Joel Pearl doing Kate and Joel Call It in the Ring. Mondays on Fightful Select with your Raw Sour Grabs post show. Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday right here on the main channel, and Wednesdays at the Mark Order Pod. But this time, tomorrow, not this time tomorrow, but for this week, I'll be reviewing the NXT No Mercy post show with Alex Pulowski as well.
Yeah.
So good stuff there, guys. Have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. We're out of here.